anyways, around 2003, I'd come out of a longish relationship and was sort of feeling ready for the next adventure and decided that I was going to travel around Asia on a shoestring budget for a year.
Okay. You chose a time frame and you said, I'm moving. That's what I was wondering is how you made this switch from North America to Asia continent?
I think it started because my younger brother, Alex, had recently moved to Tokyo because he wanted to learn Japanese so that he could speak with my grandma and grandpa before they passed away.
Wow.
And I had probably visited him, or at the very least, I was talking with him while he was doing it. But I think he inspired me to go to Asia.
Yeah.
And so I got one of those Air Trek, 1 year tickets where I had identified all these destinations and pre-purchased that bulk of tickets, put all my stuff in storage. And I think I left on my dad's birthday, November 21st, 2002.
Did you plan to work while you were on this year, or did you think I've got the funds to just
I planned to spend about $30 a day for a year and not work. I remember vividly flying into the old airport in Bangkok, and I had one name on a piece of paper who was a friend of a friend in advertising. Steve was the name on the paper. And I arrived and, just the heat. And
impressive.
It was, and it was raining. It was monsoon season. I also had an article from the New York Times, Frugal Traveler, Bangkok, a week in Bangkok or whatever. So that was sort of my guide initially, from where I stayed to where I ate for the first couple of days. I remember feeling overwhelmed a little bit, but I just reminded myself that's what you're supposed to be feeling at this moment. So lean into it. Don't fight it because it's normal. Anyways, along that year, I traveled all over Asia. And because Bangkok was the center of Asia, really, both as a transportation hub and geographically, I got to know Bangkok and Thailand better than other places. It was kind of hub and spoke. And the country just started to gradually grab me and pull me in. And by about 6 months, I started entertaining the thought of staying there. And so I started looking at the classified ads in the Bangkok Post for jobs in advertising. And I was backpacking in Vietnam with a friend from Istanbul, and there was a good job ad, I think. Forget if it was Ogilvy and Mather or Saatchi and Saatchi, but it was for a media planner for, I think, Dove soap or something like that. I wasn't a media planner, but I did it early on, so I knew enough, and I wasn't really interested in Dove soap, but it was a good agency. And so
those are the big ones.
Yeah, so I sent them my resume, and they got back to me and asked if I could come in for an interview. So I told them I was in Vietnam on business. Could they wait a week? And they said, sure. So I flew back to Bangkok and had a suit made and went to the interview, and they offered me the job, which I declined because I still had 6 months left of travel, but it was this, validation of concept that I could be there and actually continue in a career as opposed to be forced to work as an English teacher.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that, but I wasn't willing to do that.
Wasn't your plan for your life.
Yeah, I wasn't willing to do that. So anyways, I ended up living in Bangkok for 14 years and had a total blast.
Yeah, it's a big switch from this 1 year trip. How much time did you see your brother during that first 6 months or year? Like, did that end up being a big draw, or did you you immediately found your own way and were heading off?
Alex was in Tokyo, Japan, and I was in Southeast Asia, so I didn't see him much.
Yeah.
Maybe once. But once I lived there, we saw each other relatively often. It was a 6-hour direct flight to Tokyo, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Compared to Portland.
Yeah, much easier. And so the time zone changes.
Yeah,
minor
right. Exactly.
Point,
Exactly. So he would visit me and I would visit him. And that's when we started snowboarding in Niseko, which we're going to do next week.
Wow. I imagine it's probably one of the toughest parts of changing countries, changing continents like that is your, leaving family or, leaving all the friends and all the connections you have and starting fresh like that, which I guess I've moved cities and moved around the US and kind of lost those connections a few times myself. But I think it's, I don't know, I think you probably did it at a whole nother level. And so it's interesting to hear how you came in thinking your brother was one important touch point of you drawing you there. But then you created your own network, or how did that happen?
When I think of you, Ian, I think of how you have a tight family unit and your closeness to your mom and your brothers and everything. With my family, it was a little bit different because my mom, suffered from mental illness a lot of her life, and my dad passed away when I was only 16. And so after he was gone, her illness our family life became a little turbulent. So the attraction of staying near my mom.
You're looking for a way to get out?
Right. It was more of a repelling force.
That's funny.
So, there wasn't, because I know lots of people would rather stay close to family, which is a wonderful thing, but
or your friends too. I think one thing I think about you is that you have a lot of friends that you've had your entire life.
Yeah.
You make connections and you keep them for the rest of your life, which is, I'm interested to hear how you do that more too later, but,
they were doing their own thing. They weren't in San Francisco.
Yeah.
For starters, or somewhere, but, anyways, I felt pretty footloose and fancy free. It was really nice having my brother close by. And I did have friends from the States, my closest ones, they all came to visit
occasionally and stuff.
Sometimes more than once.
Yeah.
And my mom came out once when I did a executive MBA program there. It was a local university in partnership with Kellogg and Wharton. And so my mom came out for the graduation ceremony, Thai graduation ceremony. I received the diploma from one of the princesses.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had to do the proper walk and not look in the eyes and, all this bizarre formality.